right, let's circle back here because the last time we checked in with her boyfriend had invited his sister and her kids on their beach trip, and she was really upset about it.
All right, so they had a beach trip planned, and it was their very first trip as a couple, so she was looking forward to going. And then he dropped the news on her that her sister-in-law, was going through some things, and he invited her without actually telling her. So she felt the way about that because she wanted it to just be a couple's vacation, but she also didn't really want to say anything because it's his sister, and she kind of understood. And it was very late in the game. Like, by the time he told her, there wasn't really much that they can do to change the plan, so she wasn't exactly sure how to handle it. Then she took advice, and she actually did speak to him very last minute and said, hey, I don't know how comfortable I am with your sister coming. I really wanted this to be a couple's trip. And he actually was offended and got upset with her that she decided to make this a big thing because he felt like, hey, this is my sister, and I'm going to do whatever I need to do for my sister and my niece.
So right before they went on the vacation, like the day before is when she brought it up to him?
She finally brought it up because she felt like she always suppressed her feelings, and then she always kept it to herself. And she said, no, not this time. I'm going to actually speak to him. And then she told him straight up, I feel like you're putting their needs before mine. And he said, that's because I am.
He said, I always will.
He said, I always will. So, that led to a really big fight, and she wasn't feeling it, and she got to the point where she was feeling like she should go MIA and not go on this trip at all, and now we need the results of what she ended up doing.
Okay, so just for clarification, because I wasn't here the last time you guys checked in with her, how long have they been going? Are they married, or they're just going out, or?
They're dating.
Dating.
Yeah.
Do we know how long?
I want to say a couple years.
I think a couple years.
Okay. And he straight up says, I will always pick my family over you.
That's pretty much what he said.
Uh-oh.
You shouldn't get in the way of me taking care of my sister.
Okay.
All right, so what ended up happening? Did she end up going? Her email reads, thanks so much for taking so much time to read and discuss my situation. I had decided not to go. I was so hurt and offended that even if I could put my disappointment aside, I knew I couldn't get past what he said about me not being a priority or that their needs came above mine. It was the callousness of saying it without feeling the need to soften the message that hurt. I can actually understand that his family would come before me at this point in our relationship. However, I think there is a way he could have accomplished that without being so blunt and inconsiderate. So I ended up telling him all my feelings about how hurt I was and that I had no intentions of joining him on his family vacation. He tried to be apologetic and convinced me to go. However, I didn't back down. I was hurt and wasn't going to enjoy the trip, so I wasn't going to give in. Well, he then called his sister and told her what happened and that he didn't feel comfortable going. So he told her to take the kids and go without us. She obviously had no issue or guilt with that plan because she not only took him up on that offer, but then she invited the guy she is dating and his little sister so that they could babysit her kids while they enjoyed some alone time. I'm still fuming over the entire thing. As for my boyfriend and I, we're still working through it. He has been apologetic since, but I don't know how long it's going to take to get past this. And as far as a trip for the two of us, we spent a good amount of money on this trip for his sister to go enjoy. And we also used up our PTO for a trip we never took. So I think it would be a while for a do-over. Anyhow, I know there are much bigger problems in the world, and this probably all sounds petty. It'll all be fine. Thanks again.
So, Mo, I could see you having a different take on this because you're so close to your family and to your sisters. How do you take this whole thing? Like, your family is probably always going to come first, right? But you can't really say that? Or at what point?
To an extent. I mean, I would, if nothing else, I would have talked to her first. I think that's really the big problem here is the fact that there was just no communication. Like, he just said she's coming, and he didn't ask how she would feel about that. And I think she deserved that much. I mean, it was supposed to be a couple's trip. I get it. I would not have just put my family in front of her needs just because, as much as maybe if it was an emergency and my family needed me, that's a whole different ballgame. Before vacation, no, I would have communicated that with her.
At what point does quote-unquote family start? Because if they're going out for years and years and years, I mean, the offense here to me would be like, well, aren't I your family also? I'm part of that family now, right? And he's clearly still making a separation. So is it when you get engaged? Is it when you get married? I mean, Tiffany is my family.
Yeah.
That's my family. I mean, she's my fiance. But even before that, we're living together 5 years or 6 years. That's my family.
I think as soon as you're exclusive and you say, I love you, if this is a person you love, you have to consider their feelings. And if I remember correctly, they both chipped in on this trip. Like, she put money in on it too. So if you both are contributing to this trip, he can't just go invite whoever he wants. Like, you needed to have a conversation prior.
This a deal breaker?
It could be.
This is a deal breaker.
If I'm her, yeah, this pretty bad.
The Bert Show.
So, first, thanks for watching. Second, you like what you just watched? That just scratches the surface. Get The Bert Show on any podcast platform. We're so good.